Namaste. If you want to learn how to do Kakasana and Bakasana, you're in the right place. Let's get into the video. The difference between Kakasana, the crow pose, or Bakasana, the crane pose is very simple and easily noticeable. As you can see, in Kakasana we keep the arms perpendicular and in Bakasana we keep the arms straight. But I'll further explain the minute details that help you do both of them with relative ease. Another interesting thing is when a crow bends forward, it usually has its legs bent, whereas a crane has its legs straight even when it bends forward. So who can practice these poses? Anybody who can do Salamba Sirsasana, aka the tripod headstand, would be able to learn this pose easily. If you want to know the safest and easiest way to learn that, click on the top right corner. You don't have to master Sirsasana to perform this. You just need to follow the drills I am about to show, which will help you. The first practice that will help you train the muscles used for Bakasana is a modified version of Pavanamuktasana as you see here. Lying flat on the floor and getting up to touch your elbow to the knees. This activates the muscles of your upper back and warms up the abdominal muscles, which play a major role in holding the pose. Make sure to come up only as much as you see here, even if you can't touch the knee with the elbow. The second practice is similar, but here you don't raise the legs but continue raising the upper body like the previous practice. Exhaling as you get up or inhaling as you get up and exhaling at the final pose, that is while you raised your hands upwards, is suggested. You can do these practices 8 to 10 times as per your convenience. As I demonstrate the next practice, I'll point out one common thing in all these practices and Bakasana itself that is very important. Arching the upper back is very important and this helps you engage and target the right muscles needed for the final posture. Make sure when you're doing this specific practice or the previous ones, not to jerk yourself up but come up with control and in a slow manner. The next drill is Marjalasana stretch or the tiger stretching variation, where you raise the leg back with inhalation, bring it towards the armpit with exhalation. Even here we are emphasizing the arch in the back and compression in the stomach. Do the practice 8 to 10 times. For the next practice, we try to arch our upper back with exhalation by retracting the stomach and chest in and then get into plank pose. We are doing this to activate the muscles in the wrist and forearms, which will bear the weight in the pose. As you can see, each practice is getting progressively complicated, which will make sure you don't injure yourself in the final pose. In the next practice, we sit in Vajrasana or the Thunderbolt pose and perform a modified version of Shashankasana. You need to round your shoulders and arch your back just like the other postures and start bending forward, ensuring your hands are placed next to your legs as you see here. Push the floor so you can bring your head in between the knees. Repeat this for 8 to 10 times and make sure you don't let your buttocks raise off the heels as you see here. You can notice that the hand positioning resembles that of how we perform Kakasana. For the next practice, we'll place the elbow next to the body and extend the hands all the while maintaining the arch and compressing the stomach. Return back into the initial position again and repeat this as much as you can, making sure you maintain the arch throughout this practice. Next, you will be seated on the floor where you fold the leg and hold the feet. Maintaining the arch, keep the knees as close as possible to the chest. Start taking steps from the heels but don't let the upper body separate from the legs. Walk backwards until you can bring the knees to the chin or how much ever you can. Keep doing this for 10 times. Normal breathing is recommended here. The last practice of the Bakasana and Kakasana Kriya is a modified squat where you squat down and try placing the hands on the floor while your knee touches the armpit and come back to the standing position. Squat down and place your hands as you exhale. Inhale, come back to the standing position. Repeat this as many times as you can. Now that we performed everything needed, I'll show the easiest way to enter into Kakasana. Sit in Malasana with legs apart. Arch the upper back as we've been doing and raise the heels. With the hands pressed against the legs, Lean forward onto the arms, making them perpendicular. It does not have to be perfect, and here you don't have to keep your knees on the armpit, instead keep the shin on the arms. As long as you maintain the arch and keep your entire body firm, you won't feel like tripping over. Now for Bakasana. Start off by placing the palms on the floor in half squat pose. Raise your heels and arch the upper back, pushing the knees into the armpit. Know that it doesn't have to be exactly in the armpit because some of us won't have that mobility to place it there. Start leaning forward, keeping the buttocks and core firm. Initially, you can keep elbows slightly bent until you're fully in control, and once you do that, you can learn to completely straighten the arms. Don't get disheartened if you don't get it right away, because body needs time to get adjusted to this pose. And that's the reason why I have made this Kriya, to improve the final posture. Some things to keep in mind is not to overdo, cause that will peel off the skin around your arms, and avoid wearing rough material pants. Second thing is, if you raise your buttocks too high, you may feel like tripping over, so instead try leaning forward instead. Practice forward bends the right way, that will impact your Bakasana and Kakasana. Perform Urdhva Mukha Svanasana if you've been doing this pose for extended period of time. If you have any further questions, write in the comment section. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Shubhamastu.